Hello everybody, in the second lecture of the IELTS, and we will take another passage to answer the headings, the questions. The question says, the reading passage has 8 paragraphs A to A. Choose the correct heading for each paragraph from the list of headings below. There are always some extra headings that you do not need to use. The list of the headings are: number 1, benefiting from an earlier model; number 2, important operative conditions; number 3, examining the public confusion; number 4, where to go from here; number 5, how it's all linked up; number 6, how a suitable location was found; number 7, comparing wind speeds in Australian cities; number 8, matching operational requirements with considerations of appearance; number 9, what makes Esperance different; and number 10, more than just a source of power. They have given you an example here, which is the answer of paragraph A is X, which means number 10. That is more than just a source of power. Australia's first commercial wind farm. It's some years since the rotor blades began spinning in Esperance. Paragraph A. As we noticed that they gave us that the answer of paragraph A is number 10, which is more than just a source of power. Let's come to it. Harvest time in Esperance is constant as long as the wind blows, which is pretty much all the time. 9 identical synchronized wind turbines react the benefits of the dependable winds that gust up around the southern coastline of Western Australia. That's the first sentence. As we notice that here, the first sentence just gives a simple introductory to the main one. Let's see. These sleek white robot-like wind turbines loom up on the horizon, forming part of Australia's first commercial wind farm. That means it's not only a source of power. Why? Because here it says they are not only functional machines that help provide electricity for this secluded coastal town, but increasingly they are also draw cards for curious tourists and scientists alike. So they are not only just a source of power. Let's come to the other paragraphs. Paragraph B says, because of its isolation, Esperance is not linked to 15 Western powers grid which supplies electricity from gas, coal, and oil-fired power stations to the widespread population of Western Australia. That's the first sentence. Let's go back to it. It says because of its isolation. So, let's come to the list of headings. Benefiting from an earlier model. No, it doesn't talk about that. 2, important operative conditions. I see no conditions here. Number 3, examining the public confusion. Nothing talks about that. Where to go from here? Where to go from here means sometimes where to go, that means physically, and sometimes it means what next, which means what's the next target, or what's the next goal, what's the next aim, or what's the next plan, which means what else, what next, sorry. Number 5, well, I see nothing here. Number 5, how it's all linked up. It doesn't talk about how they are linked or connected. I see nothing about that. How a suitable location was found. It doesn't talk about any sites, any locations, any places. Number 7, comparing wind speeds in Australian cities. Doesn't talk about that at all. Number 8, matching operational requirements with considerations of appearance. It doesn't talk about appearance, about nature, about views, about these things or requirements. I see nothing about it here. It says what makes Esperance different. We chose this why. Firstly, because it answers this question by saying because of its isolation. That's why it's different. Because the answer, because of its isolation, that's why it's different, is hidden. Where is it hidden? It's hidden in this question. In number 9 question, what makes Esperance different? The most important thing is that if you could if you couldn't find the right heading, look for the wrong ones. Once you look for the wrong ones, you will find the right one. You will have a short list of 2 or 3 headings out of, let's say, 8, 9, or 10, and then you will, let's say, be sure for 60 to 70% at least. Here, I'm sure 90%, but after reading the entire headings, I'm sure of my answer by 100%. Now, let's come to paragraph C. It says the $5.8 million 10-mile lagoon project is not Esperance's first wind farm. The 5.8 million 10-mile lagoon project is not Esperance's first wind farm. Let's come to the question. Let's come to the headings. I want you to focus, before coming to the headings, I want you to focus to it's not Esperance's first wind farm. That means there was an earlier one. Let's go on with it before going to the headings. The success of a smaller experimental wind farm at a spot called Salmon Beach encouraged the state's power utility to take Esperance wind seriously. Let's go back. The success of a smaller experimental wind farm. This one gives the assertion of my guess, which is there was an earlier one, which means the answer will be number 1, benefiting from an earlier model. Let's come to paragraph D. Paragraph D says the wind farm is connected to the power station by a 33 kilovolt power line, and a radio link between the two allows operators to monitor and control each wind turbine. Let's continue the second sentence. The 9225 or 225 kilowatt this does blah 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 blah. Okay, here, what does it talk about? Let's go back to it. The wind farm is connected. It talks about the connecting of the power station, which means it talks about the linking of it. So if we just look for the right heading, it will be number 5, how it's all linked up. Paragraph E says the power produced by a wind turbine depends on the size and efficiency. Here we have conditions. How do we know? Since we have the word depends on means conditions. So we have here number 2, important operative conditions. That's the only answer. Paragraph F says the most favorable wind sites. Sites means locations. Let's go on. The most favorable wind sites are on gently sloping hills away from obstructions like trees and buildings, and where the prevailing winds are not blocked. Let's go back. The most favorable wind sites. So it talks about sites, about locations. Favorable, suitable, also. So in this case, the answer will be number 6, how a suitable location was found. Paragraph G. Strict erosion controls have been implemented and access to the wind farm is limited to selected viewing tourist attraction areas. If you remember when we have just read the list of the headings, we said appearance means nature, view, these things. So let's go back to it. Strict erosion controls have been implemented and access to the wind farm is limited to selected viewing tourist attraction areas. That means it's one of the requirements, which means number 8, matching operational requirements with considerations of appearance. Now, paragraph 8 says, which is the last paragraph, in fact, the project has become something of a tourist attraction in itself. That's the first sentence. This sentence carries no idea at all. It's just an introductory. Just let's say an extra one. If we omit it, it will not affect. So let's go on. It says Esperance Share President Ian Michael said the wind turbines had been well accepted by locals. We have watched the wind farm develop with great interest, and now we find visitors to Esperance are equally enthusiastic about it. He said, the aim now. The aim, the target, the goal, the plan, the next step, all of them mean where to go, what to do next, which means number 4, where to go from here. Thank you for watching this second lecture. Wish that you got the benefit of it, and please, if you liked it, just press subscribe and comment. If you have any questions, please write in the comments to be answered. And also, if you have any suggestions or you want to criticize any defect, please feel free to write. Thank you.